Hello and welcome to another Demon 212 XBL review. Today I'm going to be taking a look at the Dishwasher Dead Samurai, which if you've never played it before, it's basically violence with a side of violence, with a soupçon of violence and a little bit of violence with a bit of gore and violence in between. It is one of the most brutal games I've ever played, and which is funny because it's just a pretty much black and white game with a little bit of red here and there, but it's one of those, it doesn't have to be full 3D amazing visuals to be gory, and I think this does a great job of proving that, really. So, at the start, you've got the single player game, you've got the multiplayer game, you can view your achievements, leaderboards, help and options, basics, you can view your controls but you can't actually change them. They are pretty well, but as always I'd still like the ability to change them myself. You can change the blood to red and black in the settings, and well, that's it then really. The multiplayer part of the game, I will mention, I'm not going to show it off because it's the same thing, but not, and I'll explain that in a bit. Basically, for a quick explanation, the story mode is one player only, the arcade mode is where you play the multiplayer, and it plays just the same in single player and multiplayer, the arcade mode. It's just a bit of a shame that you can't play the story mode multiplayer because the story mode's really good. So, as the game is incredibly difficult when you can concentrate, I'm just going to put it on easy. Basically, it's a bit of a revenge story though. It's done pretty well and I am interested in it, and as far as I'm aware from what I've been reading up, there's actually going to be 4 games in the series, and if you're not interested in the story and just interested in the violence, then you can always skip it. And the story mode actually therefore plays a bit like Shank. The whole point is you go around, you can pull out weapons and do different attacks. You can only have 2 weapons at any one time, and you can also get yourself some magic attacks, but it's well, it's just a case of playing around with the weapons and learning what you think's better and what you need. There's meat cleavers, there's scythes, there's samurai swords, there's machine guns, and when you're kicking the crap out of the enemies, you every now and then get those appear, Y or B, which are basically the game's fatality system. One of them, I think it's Y, is a clean kill, B is a brutal kill, and well, doing them gets yourself energy and points, and every now and then it gets you a magic skull as well to use a magic attack, which tends to be along the lines of lightning killing everyone on the screen, or at least damaging them if they're a boss. Well, I see bosses, there's bosses in the story mode. In the arcade mode, I've not came up against one yet. So, that's pretty much everything to really see about the gameplay of the game. I suppose it's just a simple game, but it's really fun if you like these sorts of games. The story mode's a decent length, it's got 14 levels and the boss battles are pretty good. It's just a shame that I can't really skip right up to a boss battle because the levels are pretty long and I'd be sitting here for about 30-40 minutes before I get up to them. But it's the usual gist. The first guy, for example, is on a horse, you have to kick the crap out of him, he's got an energy bar, and it's that simple. Although, obviously, being a boss, he's quite difficult and you'll have to watch your own energy. You can also go into a shop in the single player to buy things, but the shop's not there for the arcade mode because, to be fair, you don't really need it. Actually, funnily enough, this is the shop here, so you can buy yourself energy, or you can upgrade your blades and increase the amount of skulls you can have, or your health and things like that. Buy continues, and as I say, it's a simple game done really well, and if you enjoy this sort of thing, it's incredibly fun. I'm now going to move on to the arcade though, because at least on the arcade mode and challenges, I should be able to show off the other weapons. So, the biggest difference between the arcade and the story is the arcade is static. It's like an arena combat game all of a sudden. Rather than moving through the level, enemies just keep appearing and you have to kick the crap out of them, and, well, once you kill them all, you beat the arcade mode and go on to the next one. There are 50 different arcade levels to choose from, so that's 14 story with 50 arcade, and then you've got the challenge mode as well. And it all adds together and make one hell of a hefty long game, although it's not the type of game that you can play for a long time in one go. In all honesty, it's the type of thing I put it on, I do a level of story mode, I do a couple of arcades, and then I move on to something else and keep going back to it. It's just mainly because I get sick to death of button mashing, because the game can eventually turn into that. While you can strategize and do different attacks and things, it does get to the point where certain enemies can only be killed in one way, or one way is only effective for your own style of player, so you have to keep doing that. So I'll move on to the challenges now, because that's definitely where I can show off the weapons, because I get to choose them. So this is the weapon selection. As you can see, there's 5 to choose from, and you choose a main weapon and a secondary weapon. So obviously the cleavers, the samurai sword, the scythes or sickles or whatever you want to call them, the chainsaw and the shotgun and the Uzi. That's pretty much to be fair what I'm going to choose today, the sickle and the shotgun and Uzi. The chainsaw, while it may sound amazing, it's incredibly slow, and it really is similar to Shank again, where it's just one of those that it's used for power, but against enemies that are really quick or with guns it can really punish you. So, the shotgun and the Uzi, one button does one thing, one does another, so X is Uzi, Y shotgun, and the sickles are just a really quick attack, and I love them. They're probably my favourite on the game. Depending on what weapon you have equipped depends on your dodges, because you can either roll like this, or as you will have saw when I used the samurai sword, you can actually teleport, and you just do that with the right analog. It's really responsive. I've never been on the game and thought it screwed me over because it didn't do it. I'm quite happy with that, because usually there are some times on games where you'll blame the controls, and everyone always says, oh, I bad work and blames his tills. But there are some games that are just coded badly, and this I don't think is one. This is the magic attack. I might as well use it as I had a couple of them. And, well, that's pretty much everything I can say about the game. Graphically it looks immense, musically it sounds great, so I'll leave you with a little bit of it, and all I can do now is reiterate that it's a simple game for simple tastes, done extremely well, and, well, give the demo a go. Being an Xbox Live game, it has a demo. So there we go then. That's been the review. I hope you found it helpful. I don't score the games because that's based purely on opinion, so instead I'll leave you to make your own mind up. So thanks for watching, and if you've got any questions about the game that I didn't answer in the vid, or that hasn't been answered in the comments, then feel free to ask and I'll help if I can. Also, if you did find it helpful, don't forget to check out my channel, because there's plenty more like this up there, and don't forget to subscribe because there'll be plenty more to come as well. So until next time, this has been Demon212, signing off.